right now what it feels like is you guys are challenging me. So I feel like I have a little bit of power in these negotiations.
That's right.
I think that's fair.
True.
We're not very good at this, so as you're learning. Fore Players by Barstool Sports. I believe for the first time in our history of doing this show, we have the current number one ranked golfer on planet Earth on this very show. Scottie Scheffler joins us from his home in Dallas, Texas, a day after winning the WGC match play against Kevin Kisner and ascending to number one in the world after winning 3 of his last 5 starts. Scottie's the man. This was different at the beginning. It felt different. He came in with a lot more gravitas, and then you realize he's just sitting in his wife's office after playing a little game on the patio all night with her for 3 hours, and he's the exact same dude. So we're going to try not to BS too much because I really want to highlight and have people get to this interview. We're interviewing Scottie Scheffler, number one ranked player in the world, 3 out of 5 wins, a few days before he goes to Augusta National to prepare for the Masters tournament. So the whole thing was really cool. We're going to throw it to that interview. Scottie's the man, but we also have a little bit to discuss. Tiger Woods, plane tracking, all kinds of stuff. We might go to the Masters. We got the whole squad. It's myself, Trent, Frankie, Lurch. We got Jake Bass in the morning, which is always an interesting character. And I believe Frankie has, hello boys, I believe Frankie has a couple Brendan Jones breaking newses, plural.
EBUG. So our producer, also shout out EBUG, shout out Brendan, shout out Jake. The video last night that just aired on our YouTube, very good video with Doc Redman trying to make a hole-in-one. Trent hit Jake Bass right in the ball sack, right on the cock. I think it was. Is it officially been right on the cock, or was it the balls, Jake?
It was more so the balls.
More so the balls. The noise it makes is something that'll haunt people for a long time.
Yeah. It's bad.
It's like it hit a fucking stud.
Right. Not the sound you would think you'd hear when hitting, a ball sack. Ball sack, you would think it would absorb the blow.
Nope.
But for whatever reason, the velocity of my 8-iron or whatever I was hitting that day really just, it was going so fast and I hit it so well that it sounded like it hit a rock.
And it was a
also
great edit.
Right on the flick. Yeah, it was right on the stick. So it was like when we were on the tee box, I remember looking at it and be like, is that good? Is that too long? Is that good? Is that too long? And then just
Doink.
Down goes Jake Bass.
Smoked it.
Too long.
It was a great edit. EBUG's been crushing it. Every Tuesday we put out a video better than the one before. It's insane. The streak that we're on our YouTube page is something that I've never seen before. But, we all know that EBUG is an emergency backup goalie. The Long Island Sauce roller hockey team was in need of a goalie tonight. And who's stepping in? Brendan motherfucking Jones. He's the EBUG for the Islanders, and he's the EBUG for the Long Island Sauce. So I will be sharing the rink with our very own Brendan Jones tonight at 11 p.m. in Bethpage. Very excited for that. Woke up with a smile on my face, texted him like, are you ready to do this? He's like, I think so. I don't know. It's like, doesn't really matter to me, but if you're that excited, I'm that excited. So really jacked up for that. And the second breaking news I have is last week we kind of teased, or last episode we teased that Out and About, Pat and Joey, they talked about a golfer boy with the hair.
E-bug.
Turns out it wasn't Lurch. Definitely wasn't me. Definitely wasn't Riggs. Definitely wasn't Trent.
Nope.
Yep.
Definitely wasn't
That actually
Jake.
makes sense.
It's the hottest guy in the office. It's Brendan Jones. I mean, Brendan
Right.
Jones is far and away the hottest guy in the office. It's fucking crazy.
Shame on us
so
for thinking it was Lurch,
stupid.
honestly.
How did we
So
think that
stupid.
Brendan wasn't the golfer boy with the hair? How did we not think that it was Brendan Jones?
I guess our logic probably was that I didn't think Joey and Pat knew who Brendan was. But, he's in the office. They're in the office, so I'm sure
That's
see
what
him
we
walking.
weren't thinking. Like he's just around, and he's
Right.
so friendly, and he's so comforting to everyone he ever meets. That of course it was him, and he's got the hair. And like Lurch is a handsome fella, but I wouldn't be like Lurch's hair. He's got nice hair, but it's not like you just kind of have a pretty
Brendan's
standard
got
short
the
haircut
hair.
guy,
Yeah.
and like
Also,
Brendan's
yeah,
got
Bug's-
some
yeah.
hair.
He's also got a nice tan.
Oh,
he
Yeah.
when we're talking about like manicuring, like keeping yourself up to date, I'm not doing that. Like it's a lazy look, I would say, that I go that I'm hitting on. Bug, he's got like the it's cleanly shaven to a certain point on his beard. His hair is always well conditioned.
Oh, yeah.
It feels like, you know what I mean?
I
Like
don't know
if he
if this
moves
is-
it, it kind of plops and flows.
Oh yeah, I don't know if this is harassment, but I'll be taking a couple peeks at him tonight in the locker room. You know, I'll be looking over. My eyes will be
He takes the helmet
gandering.
off, Frank, and he kind of like throws the hair back.
slow
Everybody's gonna be like,
motion.
Bro, I
"Oh,
might go
damn.
over to him. I might go over to him and just spray some water on him. You know what I mean? Just fucking get him a little wet and stuff. So yeah, he's gonna have a problem with this segment. He's gonna listen back to this and not like this. But
Dude, to add to this, so I was talking to my parents on the phone
Everybody's
the
just
other
got to
day,
turn on for Bug, I guess.
and it was after the
I
Max
need a
Homa video
meeting.
came out, and it was the first time I had talked to them since their debut in the video, and they watched it and they're like, "Oh my gosh, it was so great!" And they were reading the comments, which I told them not to, but everyone was very nice,
boy.
which was great. I know, but during the phone call, my mom was like, "Yeah, I met one guy who was really everybody was nice, but there was one guy who was really nice, really charming," and I was like, "Geez, I don't know who it was." And my mom goes, "Well, he was also pretty good looking." And I was like, "You're talking to Brendan Jones. You were talking to Brendan Jones. I know exactly who you're talking to." She was like, "He was so nice, and like he just couldn't have been nicer. And he was also very good looking." I was like, "You were talking to EBUG." And
dude, EBUG could be the Bachelor, no problem. He could go
No
on
problem.
ABC and be the fucking Bachelor, and the whole country would go fucking crazy for him.
No,
He'd be a popular
problem.
one too. Yeah, he'd be one of those that people talk. He'd be in the rafters of Bachelor, Bachelor hosts, guys, main characters, whatever you call him, because he's just charming. He charms everyone. I would say.
Absolute tire pump for our boy EBUG today. But you know what it is? Like, he just deserves it. He's been grinding his ass off, and now he's playing tonight. So I will report next week. I'll keep it short and tight since it's Masters Week next week. But we will report on the game and see how he did. It's his first time playing roller in like 8 years. He's been playing like ice with literally like the Islanders and like Charlie McAvoy during the summer leagues and like KJ and fucking all these amazing players. So yeah, I'm excited.
So last week we were in Myrtle Beach for the first time, and I've been around Pinehurst area for the last week. So I've been chatting with different people about Myrtle Beach. Our boy Ben out here at Pinehurst actually is looking to get in a place down in Myrtle Beach because it's just got a little bit of everything, and I guess I never really realized that. And we're gonna be going down to Myrtle Beach. Frankie and I talked about it a lot, and we did our own little two-man show, our own little duet last week. But we're gonna be doing a travel series down in Myrtle Beach where we play in 3 or 4 courses, and then there's a million other activities we could do. I mean, we could go like shooting, we can go wave runnering, we could go to water park, we can do a billion different things. I don't know how we're gonna whittle that down to exactly what we should do. There's so many activities. What should we go bowling? Should we go like? Should we go to Can we go to a strip club and film? Or I don't think we can do that. So it's like, what can we?
There's
I
a
don't know
million
how we
things. I mean, there's like there's go-karts, there's water parks, there's a minor league
Gotta hit
baseball
that
stadium.
go-kart track, Frank.
Minor league
Gotta hit
baseball
that
stadium.
go-kart
I heard
track.
like maybe we might be able to like go do a home run derby there. I don't know if that was still in the time that we're going, but like there's a lot of things to be doing in Myrtle Beach. We're really excited to go
You
down
guys bat
there.
righty or lefty? You guys bat righty or lefty?
Righty.
Lefty.
Righty.
Lefty.
What?
Who'd you model your swing off of?
So
I want to say Mark McGuire, but he was a righty, so it was always hard for me. I could never really figure it out.
Yeah, I was Sammy Sosa because he was a righty.
You were
He was
Sammy
hitting-
Sosa guy. That's a lot of movement, kind of pre-swing.
That's not it's a lot. It's
little
very
bend in
like,
the knees.
A little
Yeah.
bend in the knees, and it's square. And then if you really pop one, you got to do the hop, and then that's really it.
Yeah,
I
McGuire
always-
tried to get out wide. He tried to get some width going before. Yeah, he
Oh,
tried to
yeah.
get out there wide.
You look a little like Craig Counsell there. Craig Counsell used to get it way up. I used to my pre-bat routine, like getting into the batter's box, was always Derek Jeter. I'd like really milk it, like hand up to the fucking umpire, a lot of deep breathing, trying to look hot, like kind of look at the fucking pitcher and kind of like move my teeth around a little bit, like DJ. And then as I got older, I realized that doing less was cool. So like in high school baseball, I would try and be Robbie Cano, like you wouldn't believe, like as minimal amount of effort with like those long pants that looked like sweatpants and like extra gloves popping out the back of the fucking pockets and as many seeds as I could fit in my mouth. And I would just throw like underhand, basically. Like I'd play second base and I would throw so sidearm. I'd just flick the wrist. And the coach would be like, Frankie, just hit him in the fucking chest as hard as you can. And I'd be like, nah, coach. Like just fucking like turn a double play and just like, just kind of throw a seed at him underhand. I fucking loved Robbie
You're there
Cano.
for the theatrics, for the flair.
Oh,
You always
man.
have been.
Dude, I used to do everything I could to make it look as good as possible.
Off the course entertainment, okay? We're talking about Myrtle Beach still. No matter your budget, handicap, Myrtle Beach has a little something for you. Myrtle Beach features oceanfront homes, condos, beachfront hotels, villas, and more. Our place, Grand Dunes, was just excellent that we went to. It was beautiful. People love the course. PlayGolfMyrtleBeach.com is the one place to plan your Myrtle Beach golf trip. PlayGolfMyrtleBeach.com features every golf package, hotel, and golf course in one convenient place. You can also get trip quotes with just a few clicks. So visit, and here's a little chance to win something. Visit golfisgreat.com to enter to win a golf trip to Myrtle Beach and experience for yourself why Myrtle Beach is the golf capital of the world. More than 70 courses. They got sandy white beaches. They got endless off-the-course entertainment options. So go check out golfisgreat.com. Enter to win a golf trip to Myrtle Beach and experience Myrtle Beach. Okay. Doc Redmond video. We talked about that. Jake Baskett's hitting the dick. Go check that out on YouTube. We have 207,000 subscribers on YouTube, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah,
we do have to do a giveaway. I've been getting tweets and DMs and stuff. We got to give a giveaway to our subscribers. So we'll pick a date in this next week or two, maybe right after the Masters. So go subscribe. We'll pick a winner from all of our subscribers to give a tailor-made package to. We'll give some merch
It feels
out.
like just yesterday we were harassing people to get to 190. Now we're at
It's crazy.
207.
It's crazy. We're absolutely flying
like
right
that.
now.
You know what we really need? We need Max Homa to win a fucking golf tournament. That's what we need. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, numbies, don't get me wrong. That video has done numbies. But I do think top to bottom, that might be the best video we've ever done. The match was amazing. Trent and his family, the shots that were hit, the comeback, Max's chirps, the crowd. And then on top of that, our production style and talent and edit and experience has gotten to a point that it's the best and most highly produced video maybe we've ever done. It's got 500-something thousand views on YouTube with an enormous retention rate, and people are watching a lot of it. But I think if that motherfucker Max Homa, the swing roaster, if he goes out there and wins a golf tournament here soon, people are searching for Max Homa on YouTube. That thing's going to take off. So we need him to win. We need him to win the Masters or something.
And a reminder, a view on YouTube is the most valuable thing of all time. It's you have to watch it for 30 seconds. You have to actually watch the ad, hit skip ad, do whatever you got to do, sit there, watch content for 30 seconds, and then it's a view. Instagram, Facebook, all these other things, Twitter, you kind of scroll by it, gives you a view. That's why you can get to 1 million no problem on Instagram and stuff like that. You get 500,000 views in 2 weeks on YouTube. That's a video.
Mm-hmm.
That's
a
a
real
video,
stuff.
baby. Yeah. I mean, we're talking real stuff. Okay, we got to talk about Tiger Woods. So, Tiger Mania. I don't know really that it's ever been as crazy as it is right now. I don't know if in 2017, 2018, 2019, during his last successful comeback where he won the Masters tournament, 2019, and won 3 tournaments. I don't know, tied Sam Snead with his kind of phony records. I don't know that ever in the history of Tiger, even as big as he was in 2000, 2001, when he was chasing the Tiger Slam, there was an 8-month gap between the PGA Championship at Valhalla where he chased that ball into the hole and beat Bob May, and then he had 8 months off. Can he win 4 in a row? And there's all that media hype. We were obviously younger, way younger for that. But then the whole thing around when he came after his dad died and then won a bunch of majors again and had that stretch from 2006 to 2008. And then the comeback. I don't know that it's ever been like this. People are tracking his fucking airplane to every foot that it flies, where it's going. It literally looked like a movie yesterday. People were tweeting videos at us, just videos of them taking up in the sky of a plane, being like, I think that's Tiger landing.
Those were my favorite videos.
I mean, that's just an
There
airplane.
was just a plane at 30,000 feet, and there was just a camera
There's
just looking
Tiger.
straight up, and
There's
they go,
there
that's
he
Tiger.
comes. He's looking good. His leg looks good. I'm like, it's a fucking airplane. And then it's just all these reports about, I think he's walking. I mean, it's almost like at this point, if Tiger Woods actually didn't even exist anymore, if he was just in Australia or something, the hype would still be the same. Like, we haven't seen it. He's like this mythical, these videos kind of emerged and they're, people deleted them and there's not great stuff with consent. But in terms of official reports and media, no one, if you go to ESPN.com, there's not footage of Tiger Woods over the last couple of weeks. He just doesn't exist. He basically doesn't exist, yet there's all this hype around this mythical person. Like, he's more mythical than he's ever been, to the point where it's like him and his son and JT played Augusta yesterday. We have nothing from any of it. We don't have any. It's just We're just getting reports that it happened and that it occurred and people are fired up about it. He played all 18 holes and he looked good per some source. Nobody knows who the source is. It's just like this whole thing that is occurring. And the Masters week doesn't start until fucking Monday. So it's like this last 2 days have been so fascinating. People on Plane Tracker, everybody's downloading these apps. I saw Frankie's brain exploded in half with how many planes were in the sky yesterday. This whole week has been crazy town.
I mean, traffic controllers. Shout out if we have any traffic controllers that listen to this show. Holy shit, what a job that is. I mean, at a given time, the fact that there's what looked like 1 million planes in the air on the East Coast is
please be listening to this podcast during your off hours if you do listen to the podcast.
Really scary how many things could go wrong up there. I mean, it's nuts. But we are in a weird time right now. This is like he's like the president of the United States. Like that, it's the strangest thing. Like we literally have eyes on him everywhere he goes now. It's never been like this ever in Tiger Mania. I completely agree. Tracking the plane yesterday was hilarious. It's just the whole internet was just going crazy over it. Someone found the tail number and then you can go on the website and click it. And I tracked it the whole way from I got it at Jacksonville and I just went the whole way. It just inched its way to Augusta.
Nice.
Just inched its way to Augusta and then did that little turnaround. Some people are like, oh, he's going over. It's like, no, they're just going to the right side. So it was a lot of fun. And I mean, there's also a report, like everyone's doing such crazy deep diving into like exactly what's happening instead of just waiting until he makes an announcement. We're all trying to figure out exactly what it is now. Someone found a company that he's associated with that's like some like media company, and they put up like Thursday, April, what does it start on? Like the 6th or like Thursday, April 7th, the 7th. Like he returns. It was just a picture of Tiger on a tee box, and everyone's like, "Well, he's associated with this company. They're obviously getting ready for a huge comeback." Like, so yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy right now.
It's crazy because it's so speculative. Like, there's no actual, like, there's so minimal video or anything. It's just like, no, this is what's going on. This is what's. It reminded me of, when he travels on these huge, like, either his plane was absolutely beautiful. How big it was crazy, and then
Allegedly.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then his boat Privacy that he was on, where like people were taking pictures of that. Like, is he going down there? Where is he traveling to? And then he's just fishing with his kids or whatever the case may be. He travels on these like exorbitant things that are publicly tracked, and then people just go nuts about it. But yeah, I mean, until something happens, it's just an amazing amount of speculation. But the best part is there's no out there. It's all just building. And it could be a massive letdown, like God forbid per some source it says like didn't look good, limping a little on the 16th, 17th. It's all positive, and that media outlet, like all of it is building to Tiger tees it up on Thursday, and you're just like, well, now we're in this thing, and I can't look away.
There's a picture that can't be confirmed of if it was last night, but we all saw the one with the sunset, and he's just chipping at Augusta on 18. I
did a deep dive into that. I think that was from a couple years ago. I saw that people were debunking that one, but I don't know if that's true or not. That's the internet talking. Who knows?
I think that's the picture from Faldo from Sunday night of 2019 when Tiger just walked like the front nine with like a chipping a 60-degree wedge and just chipped around, and Faldo took that picture. I think that's when that's from.
Okay, so debunked. See, it's fucking crazy out here. It's fucking crazy.
But I like that it's like. I like that it's just part of the muck right now. It's like, oh, did you see Tiger was chipping at the sunset at Augusta?
It is crazy the power he has over all of us. Like, he could, if he wanted to, like you're saying, Riggs, there's no video of him doing the things that are reported that he's doing. So if he wanted to, he could be wherever he is right now and just say, put that plane in the air and make it land in Augusta. I'm not even going to be on it. It doesn't matter. I just want to cause an absolute scene. People think that it's me. And I'm sure that it was him. Like those are the reports that I do believe. I'm sure he played yesterday. I'm very curious to how he feels today. But yeah, he could just say, take that plane that everybody knows is mine, land it in Augusta, make everybody go crazy. He's a one-of-one person in terms of interest. There will never be anyone else like him. There's never, in my lifetime, there's never been anyone else like him, and there never will be again, because it's just the things that he's accomplished we had never seen before. And somehow he is able to recreate that magic and win again. Like if 2019 never happened, we'd still be living in a weird time where it's like, man, I hope he comes back, and I don't know if he's ever going to win again. It seems pretty bad now. 2019 supercharged the interest of Tiger even more so than it was, and now he's doing the unprecedented, or the things that people have never seen before, and that is another layer of interest. He's getting older. He crashed his car again. They almost amputated his leg, and now there are rumors that he is going to tee it up at Augusta National. That's a story that you couldn't write in a movie because people would be like, this is preposterous, but it's happening in real life, and that is what makes it so interesting.
He's in a rare position where his vessels and vehicles are so large that they have to be publicly documented, and anytime that they depart or engage in a journey, anyone could just track them publicly. So if he just drove up to Augusta, nobody would have known. If he just got in like a Mitsubishi
Just flew
SUV,
like
just
United
drove up to
Airlines.
Augusta.
John
But
Madden
he
used to
just-
travel on a tour bus, so like maybe he just goes back to a tour bus. John Madden.
I
never
might
really
need. Like, you can't fire up a fucking jumbo jet that you own and be like, how'd they know I was coming? I mean, it's
If
like,
he boarded United
It's
Airlines,
Air Force One, pretty much.
if he boarded United Airlines from like whatever, like Palm Beach International, do you think people would have even assumed it was him? Like, all right, that guy kind of looks like Tiger Woods under that mask, but that can't be him. So like, he probably would have gotten away with it. Sit first class, like a dude that like, is that fucking Tiger Woods on this flight? Like going to Georgia? No, obviously not. This can't be. I always
would
think
also
about
say-
if like mega famous people could do that, because you would obviously think it's not them.
I saw Bill Murray on a flight to Martha's Vineyard. He was just like a couple seats in front of me.
That's so good.
Crazy. I
also want to say that Tiger likes this. He's not trying to fly under the radar. Like he's like, I'm Tiger Woods, and I'm gonna potentially play at the Masters. And like you're saying, Riggs, he does travel in such a way that it's impossible for him not to. Although, couldn't he just take a plane that's not his, or that people don't think is his? Like, just take an
Why
under
would
the
he
radar
do that,
dummy
though?
plane.
yeah, you
No,
could
I
just
know.
charter like another private jet, but then you're spending like $50K when you. I don't know. I'm not.
But if he wanted to
well-versed
keep
in
it
the
a
PJ
secret,
game.
I guess he technically could. But he doesn't want to. He doesn't care. He's like,
You
this
don't
is
own your own private jet so that you could fly on another jet. You know, it's like
Yeah.
he doesn't care. I think you're right, Trent. I think he's like, yeah. I mean, everyone's gonna know I'm flying.
Also, like,
up to
what is he
Augusta.
hiding that much? It's like, oh, he's gonna play in a golf tournament next week. It's not like he has to be that under the radar about like if he's playing in a golf tournament.
But he
It's
did
I don't
not
name
think
his
he
yacht
believes that.
privacy. He named his yacht privacy.
I know,
Like,
but
he
it's not.
does
But my
like-
point is, like, at some point, he's like, all right, like, we're gonna go practice for this golf tournament. Like, what you think there's like meetings
Yeah.
being had of like, no one can know this. Like,
It
you
is
have to
crazy,
take
though. His-
a side plane so that it's like it's not like he has the answers to like the next
His
election.
plane was in the air for 2 hours, and people knew that it took off literally like at taxi. Like it was just like the amount of
Yeah, when he
people.
buckled his seatbelt, the whole internet was like, he's on it. He's
Yeah.
on it. Literally, it's fucking crazy, dude.
It would have been crazy if he had chartered a different plane, and then we just got rumors and rumbles and murmurs that he was at Augusta playing around, because then that would have been even crazier. But the whole thing's crazy.
What's the story about 2019? You kind of like just said it real quickly. I don't know if I know that story, that he just went and walked the golf course after he won the Masters.
No, it was the Sunday before the Masters. And on
Oh.
Sunday evening, Tiger Woods arrived early, and instead of taking his whole bag and doing a whole practice round, he just walked, I believe, the front nine with Joey LaCava and his 60-degree wedge and a couple golf balls and just chipped around. And Nick Faldo saw him Sunday evening as Faldo was like doing whatever Sir Nick Faldo does. And Tiger was just alone on like a green, just kind of chipping around. And he took a photo as the sun was setting, and he tweeted it out. And so I think that's the same photo that's recirculated.
I thought you said like he went and like re-walked the course after winning, just to kind of like, I thought maybe that's something he does to like soak in all the shots. He like goes back to the spots and chips from the spots and kind of like relives it. So it's one more
Don't make me
time
horny over here.
etched in his memory. I mean, imagine he did that like after he wins, he goes, all right, Joey, let's go. And they just walk it in the darkness.
Ugh. I hope he did that.
He's playing, right? What do we think?
He's playing.
I think he's playing, but this thought process is brought to you by iTrust. So we're gonna get everybody's answers from iTrust after we go through this very quickly, and I want you to know that you could invest in cryptocurrencies through your retirement account. You probably didn't know that. That is right. With iTrust Capital, you can buy and sell cryptocurrencies from a crypto IRA and get all the same tax advantages as a traditional IRA. Frankie, you think he's playing?
I think he's playing. I'm also struggling with the fact that I want to text Joey LaCava and say what's happening down there, but I would never. I would like. It's not worth not getting the note.
Feels like crossing the line. Feels
It's
like
just
that,
crossing the line.
He
with
likes
that
that we
team.
haven't crossed that line,
Yep.
and that might be crossing the line.
Isn't it insane though that we have like the option to like? I mean, you've got options as well to just like ask the question, but we can't. That's the Tiger camp, is that you just can't. You got to just let it be.
Lurch, you think he's playing?
Yeah, I've been on that side the whole time. He's playing. Frankie was the only one that was a little bit iffy. I feel like everybody else. Frankie, maybe you're 85.
You mean last show? You mean last show?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Um,
The iTrust Capital platform, easy to use, and it only takes a few minutes to create your account. Setting up an IRA is free, and iTrust fees are very low. It's time to start taking control of your financial future with iTrust Capital. You can get all the tax benefits of a retirement account with investing in crypto, or while investing in crypto, which is obviously more fun, exciting, new age, hip. Visit iTrustCapital.com to start investing today. That's iTrustCapital.com. Taxes and conditions may apply. Fees apply. Cryptocurrencies are a speculative investment with risk of loss. iTrust Capital Incorporated does not provide legal, investment, or tax advice. Consult with a qualified legal, investment, or tax professional. Again, visit iTrustCapital.com to start investing today. You've probably heard all about cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, all that. You might already be investing in them. You should be. Use iTrustCapital.com. Yeah, I think at this point, I mean, unless he woke up today and he literally couldn't walk, he couldn't get out of bed, I think he's playing. From the reports, I was following a lot of Bob Herrig. The other thing is that there are people, like we have Joe LaCava's number, and he'll text us about, Islander games, Rangers, Giants updates, and he kind of follows us, and he gets some of the information from his kids. But there's an arm's length that we keep when it comes to, we're not journalists prying for information, even though we would love it. I have Robbie Mac's number. I've never used it because it's when I see him and it comes out in a photo and he's standing next to Tiger there. But my point being that there are people whose jobs it is to exhaust those resources and those sources and folks that are then kind of relaying information. And so while this all is speculative, when somebody like Bob Herrig or when Daniel Rappaport tweets out some information, these guys are close from a journalistic standpoint to Tiger's camp. I think it adds a layer of validity to this entire thing. And I saw Daniel Rappaport tweeted out that ostensibly he's simulating a tournament round today, full physical prep before, full warm-up, holing out everything, warming up, assessing, and then seeing where he was at after the round. And from the reports that I saw, and it really seemed like it was either coming from a caddy or someone that was in the group or somebody maybe in a group behind him, that was like Tiger played, walked all 18 holes, played every single shot, looked good, didn't seem to be any pain, limping, anything like that. So by all of those accounts, at this point, I saw Scott Van Pelt, who obviously has Tiger's number. That was on Pardon My Take. I think he called Tiger Woods a couple 5 years ago. So I'm not saying that he talks to him every day, but Scott Van Pelt came out and said, I think my guess is he's playing. Colton O said, my guess is he's playing. Foreplay Podcast said, my guess is that he's playing. So at this point, it's hard to say disappointed because the fact that he almost amputated his leg 14 months ago and now he might start in the Masters with a chance to win the golf tournament. I would be devastated if he doesn't play at this point. My hype level, I've committed. I don't have the emotional strength to come back off of the ledge, right? I've already gone off. I'm already committed. I'm already envisioning it. I've already watched the videos. Fore, please. Tiger Woods now driving and gotten super jacked up. We're going to be standing out of our chairs when we're in the Chicago office with all the Barstool Chicago boys watching him tee off. He's going to be on that first tee with a driver in his hands playing in a fucking golf tournament again. And if we just don't get that, I'll be devastated.
Devastated.
Yeah,
At this
moved
point,
on
it's
from-
devastation.
We
It'll
moved
be
from
crushing.
disappointed to devastated pretty quickly there, but I agree with it.
Yeah,
I
we're
agree
just
with it.
coming it's been a tough couple of years, with Tiger, COVID, the whole thing. This will be kind of like a celebration. Feels like we're maybe close on one side with COVID. Tiger's got a driver on one. We got azaleas blooming. The whole thing is starting to maybe go our direction, and I'm really excited for that. And God, if he hits a little baby cut down one, and either covers the bunker or just a little bit left of that right-hand bunker there, guarding the right side of the fairway, I'll literally be the happiest person in the world. I think you might hear my voice. It would just be so exciting because there's nothing better. Little family time, maybe you're watching with your dad, that whole thing. You're just full enjoyment of what's about to take place. And there's nobody better to watch play the game of golf than Tiger Woods. That's it.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods plays and then is in somewhat contention on Saturday and Sunday, and we're at the bar, the Barstool Bar, River North. The vibes in that place will be, you won't even, there's no charts for it to be off of. You can't even chart the vibes. Like, they're just so off the charts that they're gone.
Yeah.
The buzz in that building would be insane. Like, Tiger's teeing off at 11 a.m. today. He's 3 off the lead on Saturday. Like, holy fuck.
Dude, we need a Tiger Woods drink. We got to have some sort of red concoction that you can go up and order a Tiger Woods. We need to have that. Just some sort of, like, if you could finagle a drink that had black in the bottom and red up top, with colors and drinks, that we need something like that would show
the Tiger.
that off.
Just give me the Tiger.
Give me the Tiger.
Oof.
I need 4 Tigers. Fast.
So something related is that we're considering going to the Masters. We don't really need to be in Chicago until Wednesday night / Thursday morning. We're going to be doing some gambling-related content. I cannot wait, by the way, for some of these things that we're rolling out for Masters Week, some of the cool items that you can exclusively get using the Barstool Sportsbook, and some of the fun bets that we've come up for the Masters. So we're going to be in Chicago because Illinois is obviously a gambling-friendly state. Our app is live there. We're going to be in Illinois, in Chicago, Thursday through Sunday. We're going to be at the Barstool River North Bar on Saturday and Sunday. We're going to be in the office with the boys, with Eddie, Carl, Chief, and White Sox Dave and their whole crew on Thursday, Friday. But we are considering going down Monday through Wednesday. We don't really have any plan. We haven't really been invited. But there's just shit going on. I feel like we're kind of relevant in the golf world, especially with golf media and people that go to Augusta and just hang out and get in the mix, as they say. So we're thinking about going. We don't have any tickets. We don't have any access. We don't have anything yet, but we're thinking about going. So I know Colt Nost reached out. He was like, if you guys come the Tuesday night, we're doing a live show at this bar. We'd love for you guys to come join us, so maybe we'll do that. But, yeah, we're thinking about going. We'll kind of keep people posted, but we have nothing else to do, and we love the Masters, and Tiger fucking Woods might be playing, and we have Scottie Scheffler on this show, number 1 ranked player in the world. He's going to be playing and one of the favorites to win, so we're thinking about going.
Yeah, we're thinking about going. Do we have a path to going yet?
Well, I think the path is we book flights and then try to find somewhere to stay, and then we just go. It's like what Trent and I did with the Phoenix Open 5 years ago. We just went. We didn't really know what we were doing. We just went.
Yeah.
Okay.
We might be sleeping on the street.
I was going to say, Phoenix Open's a little bit different. It's like Scottsdale. You got a lot of places, a lot of options. It's just the Phoenix Open. No disrespect to them, but I mean, Augusta is like, people like will kill each other over those tickets. So yeah, I'm down to just go. I want to be in the town. I want to be in Augusta. I want to feel the vibes. I want to know what's going on. I want to see Colt. I want to see Scottie. I want to do the whole thing. So yeah, let's do it. We just got to figure out how to get inside the greatest place on earth. How do we get inside heaven?
For one day. We really just need to go like one day. I feel like Tuesday, right? I need to go, or Tuesday or Wednesday, part 3 tournament. I know Kiz is going to be in the part 3 with his kids. I think he's going to be throwing out some Ain't No Hobby gear to some folks. He said his kids are going to be throwing out Ain't No Hobby gear to the fans, to the patrons, sorry. And I mean, if Tiger Woods is back, I'm going to need to go to that pro shop and buy some Masters 22 gear from when Tiger returned and potentially won the Masters tournament.
So we have the 2020. They sent us this one to the office, and then I have my 2017 one downstairs. Yep. I need a 2022 one. Absolutely need it.
Oh, God. So we're thinking about going. This is also a peek behind the curtain. This is sort of how this might result in us going down and getting one of the coolest videos or moments or things we ever got. Might result in nothing. We don't know. But we're thinking about going because we got fucking nothing to do Monday through Wednesday except obviously sit around with live from coverage on and tweet and write and talk on podcasts about what the hell's going on with Masters hype, interviews, all those interviews that come out of the media center. which we could probably just do that if we're down there and we have a hotel room or Airbnb or something. So I think we're gonna end up going. I don't really know the whole. I don't know the plan, but I think we're gonna try to go. So
I think we're going, and if you and we're just gonna figure it out. And obviously, like if someone has a way for us, you know how to reach out to us. But we're gonna be there. We're gonna be in the town. We have to be. We've got to be in the area and just figure out a way. Because things sometimes just happen once you're there, like you're saying, Riggs. Things just happen. Oh, I got this. You got that. Take this in here. You can go now. I'm gonna go there later. It's just we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
we're gonna figure it out. We might be at Augusta next week,
like
so
that.
stay tuned for that. Okay, I got one last thing, and then we're gonna throw it to Scottie Scheffler, who was again excellent interview, one of our favorites that we've ever done. This is from the gallery. We got one from the gallery from Adam, and from the gallery is brought to you by our friends at Truly Hard Seltzer. They got 27 flavors. Every single 12-ounce can has less than 110 calories. So they got 5% ABV. Some of them have 8% ABV, so you're gonna have a really good time. But Adam says, what percentage of the field for the Masters, and again, this is brought to you by Truly Hard Seltzer, what percentage of the field for the Masters is secretly hating that Tiger is back, if any?
Maybe all that compete against them. I mean, like, I think they love it, but there's also a part of them that's like, fuck, dude, this guy owns this place. Like Scheffler, we're talking about like being the number one player in the world. I think, like, as a competitor, if I wanted to win a first green jacket, I would rather Tiger not be in the field than be in the field. I think, like, is that unfair? Like, I'm sure ratings are better. I want a green jacket. That's why I'm here. If Tiger was not playing, there's at least a percentage chance that I go up a slight amount, and I'll take that.
I guess the flip side is, and you're probably right, there's definitely, these guys are so competitive that they want every single edge that they can get. But there would be a part of them, and maybe this is after you win the Masters, is you want Tiger in the field because you're like, Tiger Woods was there. I beat Tiger amongst all those other guys, but Tiger Woods, the mythical creature, who he is, was in the field, and I beat him.
I think, if you have a green jacket, certainly you're on that side. If you don't, it's hard for me to get on that side.
But also, there's so much hype. I mean, we just spent 20 minutes talking about how it makes the tournament so much better. At least that's obviously from a viewer's perspective. But even there's going to be more eyeballs on it. It's going to be more hype. It's the Masters, so there's going to be hype regardless. But I'm sure there's probably guys are probably on both sides of it, where they're like, yeah, I want to win, so it would be easier if he's not there. But also, the spectacle that is the Masters with Tiger Woods involved is unlike any other event.
You're such a storyline guy. I mean, T, you're like a storyline guy through 100%. And through. It's like, I mean, 100%. You can't tell me that somebody else, like, they might say that publicly, but there's no way, like, you need Bryson's take on it, because he'll just, like, not know how to talk to anybody else and be like, no, I'd rather wish he's not here. And by the way, Augusta's a par 67, and I'm going to go play golf now. And you're like, oh my God, is that guy hard to listen to? But yeah, like, from a competitor standpoint, I don't want that guy in the field if I'm playing.
I don't know, dude, because it's similar to, like, if we, when we did the Chicklets Cup, for example, there were teams that we would play that sucked, and you knew you're just going to kill them, and we did kill them, and it just wasn't as enjoyable. And then the teams that we played that were actually good, and it was a knockdown, drag-out battle, and you're truly in the heat of competition, and the stakes are raised, was so infinitely more enjoyable. When you listen to like Koepka and DJ and those guys talk about the back nine in 2019 when they were going up against Tiger, they're like, that was, even though I lost and he won, that was unlike any other experience I've ever had playing sports in my life. So that's why I do think there's a certain percentage that's like, no, if he's not here, I just have a better chance of winning because he might win the tournament. But there's also the Rorys of the world. I feel like Rory would be the kind of guy that'll make a comment,
that's true,
on Wednesday being like, I feel like most people don't even know I'm here because everybody's focused on Tiger. This is great. It's like easy for me to kind of focus and do my thing. Maybe the Rahms and the Schefflers and the Rorys of the world might have that sort of experience of, thank God he's here because nobody's even talking to me, and I've been able to just walk around Augusta National by myself and get focused.
It's also probably, it's funny to think about how at the beginning of the week, like if he does play, like some people are in the back of their head are going to be like, all right, he's probably not a threat. Like, guy's just starting to play golf. Like, just
no one
came
can
here.
think that, dude.
But I'm saying that's a mistake.
But there's a part of you that might think like, all right, I'm just gonna do my thing. Like, there's no chance like Tiger can compete with me. And then after you hear like one roar, it's like you get punched in the face. You realize you're in a fight. Like,
Yeah.
he's coming. Like, you think maybe you have a leg up on him, no pun intended, but like he's fucking coming, dude.
Yeah.
Also, no pun intended.
Yeah, I think you can't really worry about anything else until the
second
weekend.
one was forced. First one was good.
Yeah.
First one was
As soon
really
as he
good,
hit
actually.
the first one, he's like, I'm coming back
Second
with
one,
another
he's
one
got
and
it,
just
man.
keep saying no
Just
pun
quit, love.
intended. Yeah.
Well,
I think, you
let's
can't
go.
really worry about anybody else until the weekend. Then you can start to worry about them. That's why, like, match play and talking with Scheffler and Kisner, it's like you're actively rooting against the other guy. Where if you play together on Thursday or Friday, you're kind of like rooting for good golf, it feels like, because you're both trying to make the cut and get into the weekend of Augusta. But yeah, there's no one in the field that's saying I'm not worried about Tiger Woods winning another green jacket. The guy basically, he owns the place. I mean, he's like, he knows every speck of grass. He knows everything.
Yeah, it's I do think there's probably a few people. There have to be a few people in the field that are like, yeah, if he doesn't play, that'd be great.
Rory for sure. He's a guy with real perspective. I think, yeah, those guys. I'm with you on that.
Okay, Truly, go check out Truly. Their new margarita pack. Go buy one of the new margarita Truly packs. They're phenomenal. They got the fruit punch too, the OGs. So big thanks to Truly. Go check out TrulyHardSeltzer.com. Figure out where you can get some Truly. Scottie Scheffler is up next. We have a full hour with him. You're just going to enjoy it. We get into a lot of good stuff.
He's amazing.
Anybody have anything else?
He's an amazing person.
Shout out to Keith, our guy with the wood.
That's amazing. Shout out. I was just about to do that too. That's amazing. Keith, he is, I've put up some stuff and Riggs really fucking showed the whole process of him bringing down his outdoor table to the Riggs cottage. But our guy Keith, Halstead Works on Instagram. Halstead Woodworks on Instagram. Go check this guy out. He's going to blow up, man. He's just this dude that has a regular job in like Westchester, somewhere in New York, and figured out a way.
Coasters he made me.
Bro, figured out a way to just like become a woods craftsman, a woodsman. What's the word here? A woods craftsman?
Probably a craftsman.
A craftsman?
I think it's just
He's
a
like-
woodsman.
He's like Joseph, Jesus'
Is it a
father.
woodsman?
No, woodsman's
woodsman?
outside.
He's a carpenter.
Wood does come from outside.
Oh,
He's a
I said
carpenter.
Woodsman's like you're like
JC
taking
was a
axes to the
carpenter.
trees.
That's what
JC
you're
was a
saying.
carpenter. He's like Jesus Christ. He figured out how to he's a carpentry guy. His work is phenomenal. So I just wanted to give him a shout out. I know Riggs fell in love with the guy. They played some golf down in Pinehurst, and the stuff that he does and how amazing the finished product ends up being is cool. It's just really cool to highlight a guy that's like grinding. He's like up until 6 o'clock in the morning, like making fucking tables, and then he like,
Yeah, he's
has
got like
family.
he's got a real job, and then the woodsman is his side hustle. So he is up till like 5 a.m. It's just really cool. I know. I think Pinehurst is gonna have him do a couple projects too for some of their cooler spots down here with like the fine wood. I know people were requesting versions of my table, versions of a dining room table he made for Frankie. So he's just awesome. It'd be crazy not to shout out somebody that works that hard on really cool shit for us. So big shout out to our guy Keith. Halstead Works, is that what it is? I
Halstead
always forget.
Woodworks.
Halstead Woodworks. I actually have one of his T-shirts. Pretty cool. So big shout out to Keith. Great dude, friend of the program, and makes really cool stuff. So, all right. Scottie Scheffler's up next. Everybody have a great weekend. We're going to be back next show that we do. Hopefully we'll be doing it from Augusta National or Augusta, Georgia. We won't be doing it from Augusta National. Augusta, Georgia, it'll be Masters Week. Hit it hard.
Masters week.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Listen to the SXM app at home or anywhere you are. No card required. Stream it all on your phone, online, or at home. 425 channels are on the SXM app. Enjoy ad-free music channels for every genre and artist-dedicated channels and more. Catch live play-by-play of games from every major sports league and 24/7 sports talk from the biggest names in sports. The SXM app also has PGA Tour Radio, which has live coverage from tournaments and the latest golf news. SXM app exclusives include ad-free extra music channels, podcasts including Sirius XM originals, and on-demand video of in-studio performances and interviews. Subscribe now and get your first 3 months for free of the SXM app. Visit SiriusXM.com/4playpod offer to sign up. Offer details apply. Scotty,
What's up?
What's
Scottie
up?
fucking Scheffler.
How y'all doing?
Are you kidding me right now?
doing
God damn.
Yeah, we could see
What's
you.
going on? Can y'all see me?
Good to be you.
Nice little tree in the
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
see you.
All right.
We in the kitchen? This looks like a kitchen.
No, we're in my wife's office.
Oh, okay. I like it.
There's an outlet here. My iPad's out of battery, so that's why we're in here.
I love it. I mean, you're just Scottie Scheffler right now. It's just great to be. It's great to be Scottie Scheffler. You got a nice, comfortable vibe about you right now.
Mm-hmm. What are y'all up to? Y'all all in different places?
Yeah, we're all over the place.
Yeah, I'm in New York. Riggs is in Pinehurst right now. Trent's in Iowa. Lurch is in Jersey.
Yeah, spread out.
Spread out big time.
Real spread
Nobody's
out.
close in this group.
Not
You know
like
what's
last
funny?
time.
You know what's funny is this somehow feels different, but it's not different. We've talked to Scottie Scheffler before, but things are just a little different this time around. I feel nervous, and I've met you, and we've had you on the podcast, but it's just a little different now. And I can't quite put my finger on what that is.
Are you asking me or what?
I'm just saying that. Do you think it feels different?
To be honest with you, not really. I mean, I don't feel any different. I would say that I went out and I got some coffee this morning, and as I was leaving the coffee shop, some dude was just sitting on a couch. He's like, "Hey, way to go, Scotty!" And I was kind of like, "Yeah, man, thanks." And then I just kind of kept going about my business, so it doesn't really feel too different to me. But yeah.
It's funny, man. I mean, I'm with Trent a little bit. It's like first time you looked at Frankie and you were like, I don't even think you know my name. And now we have you on a year later and you won 3 of your last 5. You're the number 1 ranked player on planet Earth who plays the game of golf, which we cover on this podcast. It's just things have changed since the last time we had you on the show.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a crazy past few months. I really don't know what to say about it, to be honest with you guys. It's just, I've been playing pretty good, and the number 1 ranking is cool. And, I honestly never really thought about it. It's the ranking's kind of one of those deals, as you're kind of coming up in the rankings, as I got off the Korn Ferry Tour, there's just steps where, you make it to top 50 and then you get at all the majors and stuff like that. And I've kind of just kept climbing. I haven't really had much of a fall in the rankings, and I guess I got as high as I can go. So, eventually I'll fall back down. But, right now it feels good. But like I said, it's never really something that I was striving for, was the ranking.
Does the game feel different, mentally? You just I mean, you've been on a rip here for this last 2 months. I mean, how do you feel over the ball? Just, I couldn't miss a flag stick, or, what, does that feel any different to you or no?
Not really. I would say I'm feeling my shots really well. The golf courses we've been playing have been kind of different. Phoenix was different than Bay Hill, and then last week is a total anomaly on tour. There's not really any other golf courses like it. And last week you just have to hit so many different kinds of shots around that place, which I like. The greens are crazy firm. The golf course is a bit quirky, and you kind of have to manage your way around. And there's a few different ways to play it, which I like. And I would say, I think the biggest improvement would probably be in my putting. I always felt growing up that I was a really good putter. And my first couple of years on tour, I didn't putt well for whatever reason. I couldn't get comfortable. And, I made some changes this off season. I've been, practicing really hard at it. I got a good little setup here in the living room where I get to practice. And I think, I'm seeing the fruits of that a little bit quicker than I expected. And, the game feels good.
What kind of setup are we talking about?
Yeah, it's just
smirked at
synthetic
that.
green. What is this? What is this? Living
Oh
room?
no, it's just I have a mirror, and then I have this little kind of putting mat that I putt on. And when my buddies come over, since it's in the living room, Meredith lets me put it in there because when she's in the kitchen, it's in the same room, and so I can be practicing while she's doing, whatever it is that she's doing. And she's just it's nice that I get to be around and I get it in the living room. And then when my buddies are over, we practice on it. And it's just basically just to work on my setup. Nothing special.
Such a funny visual of the number 1 golfer. This game's so hard, and we all buy all these crazy apparatuses, and we go to all these ridiculous fittings, and we buy all this ridiculous technology, and the guy who's doing it the best on the planet's just doing it with a mirror and a little mat. in his living room watching the game, like listening to some like bacon sizzle in the kitchen, just like nothing crazy, just kind of just figuring it out and going out there and winning. It's actually really humbling and like makes me think like we should just all just like figure out how to like do that like more simple. You're making it really simple, essentially.
Yeah, well, I think that like when you're playing your best golf, things feel really simple. And so right now, like, yeah, I have my putting set up and I know exactly what I want to do. But if it was a year and a half ago, I still had a putting set up in the living room, but I was trying out different things. And so it usually always kind of goes back to that same mirror. But I think when you're doing your best, everything's really simple. And so just keeping it as simple as possible seems to be what works for me. And I've definitely been down that rabbit hole of trying countless different things to try and fix my putting or short game or whatever it is. But ultimately, all that stuff falls short. You kind of find those few little keys where things seem to work.
Well, dude, when we were at the Ryder Cup, and we talked to you about this, I think right after, we didn't do it on a podcast, but you like didn't leave the putting green for what felt like 11 hours. We're like, all right, Scotty's our guy. He's practicing for the Ryder Cup tomorrow. We're going to wait and see if we can get him. He's with his whole family. We met your aunt, your uncle, your parents. Your aunt, by the way, is hilarious on Twitter. We go back and forth all the time. The other day on Sunday, I was like, Kisner, because Kisner just made it to the finals, and she's just like Scheffler, and like we both went back and forth. That was just like really funny.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you have an amazing family. I love the fact that they all like ride and die Scotty, but we watched you just like grind over putts, and it looked like you were doing some sort of like. Do you have like a routine where like you have to make a certain amount? And then if you don't, you just keep going until you do? Because that's almost what it looked like. And like we were there for 20 hours waiting for you.
Yeah. So I actually remember that. I don't think I've told anybody this story, but I have that like putting rail that I was using then, which it's like a rail. I got it from Jordan. I think Jordan actually showed it to me. And the rail has like the rail's actually this wide, but then there's a little kind of top piece that's flat. And it's maybe 3 feet long. And so you have to keep it like on something that small for, 3 feet, which is pretty difficult. And I kept trying to do it. And Randy is sitting there, my coach, and my caddy, Scotty, at the time. And we're sitting there. I'm like, dude, I cannot get it down this rail consistently. Why is this the case? And so I was getting frustrated because I couldn't do it. And then finally I handed the putter to Randy and I was like, man, this thing looks like it doesn't have a lot of loft on it. And he grabs the putter and he's like, he immediately, right when he grabs the putter, he's like, I'm sorry. He goes, there's a bend in the putter shaft. And so the reason why I was on the putting green for so long was because I couldn't figure out my putting. And there was like a tiny little bend in the shaft, which took some loft off the head. And so then we figured it out. We kind of bend it back. I guess y'all didn't notice Randy taking the putter shaft and like going like this down it, like, so because you have to heat up the shaft so you can actually bend it. So he bent the putter shaft back, and then I had my backup sent in, and I actually switched into the backup for the tournament. Like it got in like the night before, I think. I didn't tell anybody on the team at the time that like my putter was bent because there probably would have been some panic ensued. Like the putter I've been using for a year was actually broken, and I don't know. It was one of those deals where I had a brand new putter that I hadn't used before, and I think I got it. I think I got it Thursday. The tournament started Friday, but I think that was Wednesday when I saw you guys. And I was practicing for the 2 weeks leading up with a putter that the shaft had somehow gotten bent in it. And I just don't know how. And then new putter the next day.
Wow. Dude, it is incredible how much, I mean, Frankie was talking about you got to simplify it and we do these fittings, but it is amazing how much equipment and little tweaks in equipment will change something in the right or the wrong way. I think before we went to the Kingdom, and you're a TaylorMade athlete now, you don't really realize how much shafts or, loft, you don't think that. You think like, oh, that's for really good players, but like, just give me the standard and I'll be good. When in reality, tweaks in those, I mean, they change by several yards or dozens of yards on a longer shot or putt. Like if you just can't get a putt started on line because of the loft or with the right spin, you're just going to miss X percentage more putts. And that's just an equipment thing a lot of the times.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't realize how much it really matters, especially like lie angle stuff. So for me, for instance, with that putter, I never really got the loft lie checked on my putter just because I'm like, it's a putter. It doesn't really matter. It's like a flat piece of equipment. Just make the putt. It's not a big deal. But like something, like that happens, and just that little change in the launch angle changes things drastically. And my speed was off, the start line's off. And even though it's off just a little bit, you notice it. And people just don't think about it because you're like, oh, it's a golf club. Like, I'm not that good anyways. But, you know, if your line goes off in your irons and let's say they're flat and you just continue to cut the ball and you can't stop slicing it, and you're like, there's nothing I can do. I can't stop slicing the ball. Well, really, it's just the way the iron is going into the ground and you can't control it. And it's really interesting. And having those tools for even people like yourselves who may not, you know, be as good as the guys on tour, it can still help. Like if I gave one of my buddies my golf clubs and told me to play around in golf, he would be terrible with them. First of all, because he doesn't know how to hit them and the shafts are too strong. But if we give him, you know, a driver that has 12 degrees of loft, he might be able to play versus a driver that has 7 or however many degrees my driver has.
So talk to me about your putting process, because everybody's different. Obviously, putting's a very personal thing. You know, we have Colt. We talked to Colt Nose. He was talking about feeling the greens with his feet, and that threw Frankie for a loop. When I talk with like Max Homo about it, he's much more of a linear guy. He likes to line things up and use the line a lot of the times. Like, what's sort of the last thing you think about before you strike a putt? You know, Tiger's talked about painting the picture. Like, what are kind of the I guess key things that you really think about if you're thinking about your putting and when you putt well?
So when I putt well, I do the same thing. I read greens with my feet. And so if you see me reading a 30-footer, I'll go about 8 feet from the cup, do my first read. I'll just sit there and feel it for a second or two. Just be like, oh, this feels outside right. Then I'll go to 16 feet, 24 feet. Those aren't exactly, but usually there's either 2 or 3 stops I make on the whole length of the putt, depending on how long it is. If it's a 6-footer, it's usually only 1. If it's 20 feet, it's maybe 2. And if it's 50 feet, maybe 3 stops. And so I'm feeling the break and then getting engaged to what I think that ball's going to do. And I kind of flip it around. I use the little black line on the Titleist, the one that's just stamped on there. I put a Sharpie line over that, and I'll use that inside of 10 feet occasionally. And after that, it's just really all feel. And so for me, like Tiger says, painting the picture, I'm just trying to imagine what that golf ball is going to do. And for me, I like putting kind of around stuff. So if I have a putt with a ton of break, it helps me visualize it where, like, if there's a divot or spike mark in the way, I will putt around the spike mark, if that makes sense. Just finding like something for me to use visually to where I can imagine the putt going in. So when I practice, I use a coin and I'll kind of throw it out there in the middle of the break and I'll read the putt like I usually do and putt around that coin, just seeing like, oh, this ball's going to go 2 inches outside of it or 3 inches outside of the coin, stuff like that.
How'd you identify like 16 feet, 24 feet? Why those numbers? Any particular?
That was just random. Because
really?
I set 30-footer, I'll just usually make 2 or 3 stops in the middle of the putt.
Okay.
It's usually, I would say it's probably in thirds up until you get about 30 feet. It's usually in fourths.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
No.
Yeah, it does.
I'm just nodding my head.
So then on 10 feet, you're using the line. So you're like, you know, you're trying to hit it with pace and alignment to knock those in. But then as you go further back, are you almost like trying to hit through like channel markers a little bit and just it's all pace then from that point? And so
a little bit,
16 and at 11 feet, you want it to just fall through those basically channel markers towards the hole?
Yeah. So I'll always have, if it's a 15-footer, I'll usually have one spot where I'm kind of trying to roll it around. And it's usually about halfway between me and the cup. And so when I throw out those numbers for reading the putt, it's really just, I have certain spots in the putt where I'm reading it. And so if it's a 30-footer, I'm going to have probably a point halfway, a point a fourth, and then 3/4 of the way. And then you have where the ball is. And so I'll read that whole length of the putt. And that's just how I read it, just by feel.
Yeah.
So
I'm not like, go ahead.
You should finish before me because you're way more intelligent about this. So I agree with that.
100%.
No, it's just like Tiger says, painting the picture. That's kind of how I paint the picture for myself, is by using something in the way to kind of almost help me envision the putt.
Yeah, I will
Kinda
say
like-
when Tillery was trying to teach me how to putt, which, you know, people saw the results of that for the first couple rounds that I did in Breaking 100, but his was similar where he would go stand on the line and feel it with his feet. And he's like, this is how you should be reading putts. And it's a good way to get the read down. And I would go stand out there and I'd be like, I'm standing on flat ground. And then I'd back up a little bit. I'd be like, I'm standing on flat ground. And, you know, so it doesn't work for everybody, but for the people that it works for, you, him, it seems to be a really good and interesting way to make a lot of putts.
Yeah. So you'll see Did John teach you kind of like the aim point deal where you straddle the putt? So the way I read them, I'm actually on the side. So I'm imagining myself hitting that same putt. So I'm not straddling the line. I'm standing to the side, and I'll get over it with my putter and kind of just feel. And so it's slightly different than those guys. Teddy, my caddy, actually does the aim point where he'll stand there. And I've never even tried that because I'll probably be the same way as you. Be like, I don't know if it's 1% or 2. Like I'm leaning this way. I don't know. And so there's definitely, it's like I'm more the one where I'll stand there and be like, oh, it feels a little right to left. It's probably just outside the hole. And I'll go further back and be like, it's more or less. And it's funny. The reason why I think Tigers, it's really important on kind of painting that picture. Like when I was in college, when I was hitting it really poorly, if you threw me in the middle of the trees and had me hit like a low cut around trees, I was way better out of the trees than I was from the middle of the fairway, because when I'm in the trees, it forces you to see a shot. When you're in the fairway, there's so many options and stuff to do, kind of like in putting, like the ball could literally go anywhere. And so that's why sometimes it's nice to have those markers where you can kind of work the ball through.
Yeah. That is really interesting. The whole kind of when you're forced to create a shot, all of a sudden you throw technique, you throw, your lines and where your plane's going to be, and you just kind of hit the shot, and all of a sudden you can pull it off. It's so weird how that happens.
Yeah, it's really strange.
With your putting, if you ever have a day, and maybe you don't because you're the number 1 ranked player in the world out of like 67 million people that play golf, but if you ever have a day where like your pace is off, how do you adjust? Do you try to like change in your mind where the cup is, or do you just never have those days?
When my pace is off, like speed?
Yeah, like if your speed's off on the green, or you get onto the course and you think the greens are just faster than they were on the putting green or something, and I feel, do you like, is there a way that you could change it? Because I feel like what I'm trying to get at is a lot of amateurs when they play golf, a lot of people's speed just sucks when they get on the course, because we play different courses all the time, and you're just, somebody's hitting it 5 or 6 feet by every time. The break and the read doesn't even really matter because your pace just stinks that day.
Yeah. For me, I think speed is mostly about keeping things loose. So like Bay Hill's a good example. Bay Hill, the practice putting green, let's say, is rolling a 10. The golf course was completely different than the practice putting green. So we'd warm up, do our whole thing, get your speed down, make sure you're starting on line, practice my lag putting, and then like get on the golf course and be like, this is ridiculous. These greens are totally different than the green I just putted on. Seriously, it was insane. And so
that is wild for a big tournament like the Arnold Palmer.
It was so frustrating too. That was my my really only problem I had with that week, because the golf course setup, people were complaining about it, but it's kind of refreshing to have like a really challenging golf course sprinkled in throughout the year. The thing that was frustrating for me was the greens. It was like, if you're going to do this, just have the practice green be the same. And I think they'll change that next year. But in terms of speed on the greens, if my speed's ever off, I always go back to loosening up my grip. And so I think naturally people kind of adjust to what goes on the golf course, whether or not you think you do or not. And so when it comes to speed on the greens, the looser I am, the usually the kind of tighter my speed control gets. And so, especially when greens get faster.
Interesting. I've never heard that one before. That's good. That's a good
Just
little tidbit. You're gonna have
then feel takes over.
You're gonna have a lot of people out there now just like barely holding on to their putters on putting green trend.
That's how when I'm lag putting really good, that's all I'm feeling is I'm looking at the hole and I kind of stand there and just make a few strokes. And then when I get over it, I'm like, just loose, just feel loose, just feel the head.
Didn't
we
JT
had a
say,
sports psychiatrist,
hold it like a bird, or what was that? Was that where you're getting that, Frank?
Well, no, we had a sports psychiatrist on here, Dr. Jim Aframo, say that I have to loosen my jaw. So the next round, I just poured water in my mouth and let water kind of like dribble out of my mouth. So like now, after hearing I have to loosen my grip of the putter, I'm barely gonna hold on to that thing to the point where it's like I'm gonna be
loose
so
mouth.
Loose,
he's gonna be.
I'm gonna be so loose. It's gonna blow you away.
You're gonna fall asleep out there.
Yeah.
Well, so it's one of those deals. That's what works for me. Like Frankie, I've seen you play golf a couple times on y'all's videos, and loose may not be your MO out there.
Stiff as a board might be better. Just the exact opposite.
Yeah.
You can have somebody else on here in 2 weeks, and they'll be like, I grip the putter as tight as I can. And if they're putting good, it works. I always go back to, I got a putting lesson from Ben Crenshaw when I was in college. We were playing the Walker Cup, and I was putting and playing really poorly at the time. And he was out there, and I got to know him just from being a UT guy. And so he came out on the putting green, and I was like, hey man, can you just like watch me hit a few putts? Like I'm really struggling right now. And he says, yeah, sure. And he just grabbed the putter out of my hand, and he's just flipping this thing around, and it was as loose as I'd ever seen anybody hold a golf club. And he watched me putt, and that's all he told me. He's like, hey man, grip it lighter. He's like, you just want to feel this thing pass your hands going both ways. And he's just sitting there going like this, and the putter's just going back and forth. And I've kind of, I really took to that. And I mean, loose seems to work for me, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, apparently. I want to talk about the match play because obviously it's most recent, right? And everybody's has you 7 matches you got to play out there. You took down Kevin Kisner, who's obviously been one of our longtime friends on the show in the final. Is there much chatter out there? Is match play like so much different? Is there chat? Does it totally depend on the guy? Like with Kiz, he's a pretty chit-chatty guy, but match play, obviously he's a bulldog. You're a badass on this tear trying to become number 1 in the world. Is there much chatter out there between the two of you in a final match like that?
With Kiz, there actually was a bit of chatter, but it definitely depends on the guy. Like when I played Poulter, I maybe only said a few words to him the whole match. It's just different styles. For me, it doesn't really matter. If the guy wants to talk, I'll talk to him. Like I talk to Billy a good amount, probably Billy the most when we're on the course. But when we're playing Poulter, it's like, it's fine. I'll just talk to Teddy. It's whatever they really want to do. And Kiz, there's definitely a little bit of chatter. Like we're walking down the first fairway, and the first fairway kind of goes up and over a little hump, so you can't really see where the ball goes. And I get up to the first ball, and we never really like checked our markings or anything. And he puts a little line on the ball like I do, and I'm colorblind. And so I see his red line, and I think it's black. And I was like, hey, I called back to him in the fairway. I was like, hey kids, I just want to let you know this is your ball, but like we have the same little line on the ball. And he goes, dude, what are you doing? Like your ball's 30 yards up there. He goes, I'm telling you, you're never going to be back here. You're never going to hit my ball. And he's just giving me crap going down the first fairway. I was like, that was pretty cool.
I love. He's like, all right, asshole, I get it. I get it.
And I was like, dude, I just wanted you to know she didn't hit my ball. And he's like, whichever one's further, just come up to that ball.
So what kind of colorblind are you? Like, do you like, isn't there different types?
Yeah, there's different types. I don't see red, green very well, but that's pretty much it. Like I know that you're wearing like black. Like it's not a big deal. I just don't see them that well. Sometimes.
I'm wearing green right now.
Like,
but
you tell like what I mean.
What do you mean? I am wearing green.
Yeah, it looked black though when you were sitting back.
Okay.
Just there,
It
yeah.
did look
In the
black.
lighting,
I
it
thought it was
definitely
actually
looked
like a.
Yeah, like Riggs is wearing green, clearly.
Okay. So you can, like when you're out on a golf course, the golf course looks green.
Yeah, like I can see the colors fine. The only time I struggle is like hazard lines. So when the red hazard line is on the green grass, sometimes I struggle to see it. I'm not fully colorblind. Like I can see color.
That would be wild if you were like walking around like in black and white, just absolutely tearing up golf courses. Also, it'd be a travesty that like you have the best. Your office is a green haven and you can't see any of it.
Augusta just looks red to him. He's like, wow.
Blessing and a
Everything's
curse.
gray.
Yeah.
What
It's like Pleasantville.
place.
It's like Pleasantville. You ever see the movie Pleasantville where everything's in black and white and then they start to have color? No one knows this reference.
I've seen it.
Imagine he like wins the Masters and now everything starts to come out in color. It's a little movie scene right there.
What about when you hold the bunker shot on 12? Kids say anything to you then? He had to have something up his sleeve for that one.
I actually don't think he did. We chatted a little bit.
That probably ended the chatter there because you're 3 up.
That might have.
That might have. That might have been a
That's
go after
definitely one of those
yourself
shots
under his
where like,
breath.
when you're on the other end of that, it's like kind of it's definitely frustrating to see something like that happen where kids, I'm in control of the match. He hits a really good pitch. I hit an awful pitch and he's like, all right, I got a good chance to win the hole here. And then some guy holds a bunker shot and you're like, screw you, man. It's probably what he was thinking in his head, but he just says good shot. And then he rolled in his putt after me. But, and we talked a little bit, like we both hit putts on number 1 or number 10 that we both like clearly misread. We're walking off the green and we're both kind of sitting there like, how the heck did those balls go that way? But no, it wasn't too much chatter. Definitely no back talk.
There's a lot of differences between, you, the number 1 golfer, or just a tour player, and guys like us. But to be able to hit that bunker shot on 12 after the shot before, to have the confidence to hit that ball and have it go in the hole is really something else. And like, what are you thinking? Like after the first shot, and now you're in the bunker. Like, are you rattled at all, or are you just like, all right, now this is where we're at, so we're going to step into this bunker, we're going to hit this shot and forget about that last one?
Yeah, so I don't know what the chip shot looked like on TV, but I probably had, if I wanted to hit it close to the hole, which I did at the time, I had maybe like that much room to land the ball, because the way the fringe sat, there was kind of mounted, so the fringe went like this. And so if it landed on the left side, it would kind of kick down off to the left. And if it went on the right side, it would go down to the bunker, which is where I ended up hitting it. And so Teddy and I talked about being kind of conservative and just giving myself a look from just left of the hole. And then I kind of like get into the shot, and I just got over aggressive. I was trying to hit a really sick shot and kind of, show off a little bit. And I'm like, this is easy. I can hit this in there to the foot, even though it just wasn't the right decision. And so when I'm going over the bunker shot, after I chipped in the bunker, my only reaction was like, Scottie, you're such an idiot. Like, why don't you just hit the normal shot? Like, why you got to go trying to show off like that? Just put on the green and make the putt. And so when I got to the bunker shot, I was like, all I was thinking was like, I'm going to try and get this close. So at least I have to force Kiz to make his putt for birdie. Like, I'm not just going to give him a par 5. I can't give him a hole at this point. He has to earn his hole. And I was just lucky to see it go in. I was definitely trying to make it, trying to hit it close, but to see it go in is totally different.
You and Teddy had a hell of a reaction to that. That's when I was like, oh, Scottie's into this thing. He was not going to, you guys are jacked up. Teddy, how nice of an addition is he? Because he is a golf nut, and he's one of the nicest people in the world. But that guy, I think he's a plus 2 or 3 handicap. He can play extremely well, and he's just obsessed with golf. I know he goes at tournaments and like he'll sneak off and play 36 holes on days and stuff.
Yeah. Teddy's a maniac. He loves golf. He loves golf, and he loves clubhead speed. Like, he is. Okay. Yes. And he loves
That's amazing. Woo! Look at that thing fly through there.
Seriously. Like, when he first started caddying for me, he kept showing me these videos and like telling me about these guys. And I kid you not, the only thing he talked about was their clubhead speed. He'd pull up a video on his phone and be like, look at this guy, dude. Ball speed, 197, like swings at 128, all this stuff. He loves golf, and he's been a great addition to the team. He's an awesome guy and one of the nicest guys I've ever been around. And, we're working well on the golf course together and having some fun.
Is he like trying to get you to, can you sense that he's trying to get you to swing it faster out there?
No, not quite. He's more obsessed with his own speed right now.
Okay, gotcha.
So I will say, on the range in Phoenix, I think it was after Friday morning, I had played pretty poorly that day, and we were out on the range messing around. And I'd never seen Teddy hit a ball before. And all he talked about was like, when he tried to play professionally, he led the mini tours and other fairways hit because he just wanted to swing it as hard as he could. I had him, after caddying all day, I had him hit a few drivers. We had the TrackMan out. He hit my driver. His fourth swing, he had a 120.9 clubhead speed. So no warm up, no nothing. 48 years old, 4 swing, 121 clubhead speed. Pretty impressive. Now, granted, the ball, he only carried it 241 because he toe hooked it so bad, but all he was trying to do was swing it.
It's so funny how those monitors make you like try and achieve some numbers that you're just not supposed to. Like we at the Barstool Classic, we have our amateur tour that we go across the country with, and we were just in Tampa yesterday. And we had a launch monitor out there and like on the long drive hole, and like already a long drive hole when you go to one of those events, you're trying to swing out of your shoes, but now we're giving them instant numbers on the tee box. And it's funny, like I had all the average swing speed amongst amateur golfers and telling them, I was like, dude, out of the last 30 guys that have gone, like the average swing speed was, I think it was like 108. So it was pretty low. And this one guy legitimately swung. I wish we got it on video. I don't know how his like shoulders didn't like just come off of his frame, but like he swung 129 miles an hour and the ball went directly into the trees, and he looked back, he's like, pretty good, huh? We're like, no, you're a fucking lunatic, dude. I never saw a swing that fast in my life. He like ripped it around his back, pulled it into the trees. He goes, pretty good, huh? Like, nope. You actually lose the whole thing. You lost the classic. You lost the long drive contest. So it's funny what it makes you do, though. Like you just finally have like instant, feedback. And I actually love seeing our numbers now. It's like a whole new world for us.
What are you swinging?
So I'm actually finding a sweet spot where like I'm swinging like 111 right now, 110, but I'm hitting it right down the middle. So like that, I've found it like when I swing 110, it just goes where I want it to go. So I've like slowed my swing down a little bit. I probably was like trying to get like 115, 116, like trying to swing out of my shoes for my frame. I'm wiry and pathetic, But like when I like as I hit like if I hit 20 drives, I've noticed if I'm in that 110 to 111 range, it everything kind of goes the way I want it to go, to like an extent of like what I can do.
Well, see, you see how simple that was for you?
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? You're like, I'm good at this. Like, I know what I need to do to hit it good.
Yeah, it is weird. It's weird.
That brain's not used to that. That
No.
brain's like, I need more. Give me more here.
That was really interesting, Frankie. That actually was. Because, like, I'm sure when you're chipping, you have 1,000 things that you're thinking about. But, like, when it comes to your driver, you're like, hey, man, I know if I'm swinging this speed, like, I can hit fairways.
It is. And I think my brain works with, like, if I succeed in something, then I get, well, I think everyone's brain works at this. If you succeed in something, then you're just more confident in it. And I've just yet to succeed in chipping. So, like, I've yet to have that confidence. I've seen myself be able to step up to a tee box and hit a fairway. I've yet to flop one over a bunker and keep it tight to a pin. Like, I've yet to do that. So, yeah, a million things run through my head. It's unfortunate. We're trying to get there. But, yeah, it is interesting. I wonder, like, what there's nothing equivalent to that type of feedback for chipping, though. There's no, like, numbers or it's just, like, visual representation of what happens to the ball, right?
Yeah, should be more of a feel thing.
Yeah.
Like, if I can feel the club head here, I know I can get it back to there. And so, like, a lot of times when people have, like, an aversion to chipping and they can't chip, they say they have the yips. Like, most of the time, it's really just their form.
Can't believe you said that word. Number one golfer in the world.
Well, so say yips.
Yeah, fuck, man. You're making me nervous.
Yep.
You're making me fucking nervous, dude. What are you doing? What are you doing right now?
Have you had a moment at all that you were just like after that tournament, after you win the match play, that you're just sitting in the car, you're sitting at home, or you're laying in bed at night like, I'm the number one golfer in the world? You don't seem like the kind of guy who, like you said at the beginning, like you're not that wrapped up in it. You know, you're playing well, you've won 3 out of 5, but like, have you had any moments of quiet where you're just like, man, I fucking did this. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, a little bit. I'd say, you know, we drove back from Austin yesterday, and Meredith kind of drove in the car, and I was just kind of sitting there. And yeah, I mean, it's an amazing accomplishment. And like I said, I never really thought about it. I never really thought about kind of making it this far in my career. You know, my goal per se when I was a kid was just always getting out on tour and being able to be out here and compete. And the ranking's really cool. It's a great storyline and all that stuff. But, you know, when I show up at the next tournament, we all started even par again. And so you can't really get too wrapped up in it. And I mean, it's really just a number. Like it's a calculation. If you took a straw poll, you know, of people in the media, not everyone would say that I'm the number one ranked player in the world or whatnot. And so it's a really cool story. It's a great accomplishment to have. And it's something that, you know, can't be taken away from me. I'll always be listed as one of those guys who made it to number one in the world, which is, you know, crazy really even to think about. But at the end of the day, you know, when we tee off at Augusta, everybody starts to even par, and I'm back to zero basically.
25 people. I think I saw 25 people ever on the men's side have been ranked number one in the world. So, I mean, pretty small club. I want to, you mentioned the Phoenix Open and Teddy on the range getting up to 121. I want to talk about that tournament because that's obviously for our brand and sort of our way that we play and experience golf. There's a lot of synergy there. I was out there for the whole week. Lurch was out there for a couple days. And we were all going crazy about that tournament, how many people were out there, how much fun it was. The ace was Sam Ryder on Saturday and everybody going crazy. You won the damn thing, your first PGA Tour win ever in a playoff. You know, was that one of the craziest, just even from a fan in a gallery and a crowd perspective for you inside the ropes? Was it noticeable how crazy and energetic that week was?
For sure. I mean, the amount of activity around that golf course is pretty funny because you play the front nine. I don't know how much time you guys spend on the front nine, but there's nobody really out there.
Right.
Everybody's in that area between 10, 11, 16, 17, 18. And so it's kind of shocking the first time you get to those holes because you spent most of the day with nobody out there. Like it's really weird.
It's bizarre.
And,
on the front nine, as a fan, you can get almost a private viewing experience of even the contenders. Like on Sunday,
yes.
I could have walked right alongside you and watched every shot. But I fucking did that on Saturday with Max. I was like out there with Max and Joe, and we were just like I was like fist bumping. There was nobody around, and then you make that turn. You tee off on 10. You do the dog leg right, and then it just everything changes at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I mean, the tournament's really fun. It's definitely different. Like, you go from Phoenix to Riviera. I'm sure you guys won at Riviera, but were you all there?
Mm-mm.
So Riviera is like a golf purist kind of dream. You know, there's not really a whole ton of stands. There's really not even that many people out there watching, and the golf course is just perfect. And then you come from Phoenix, and we tee off. I'm like, why isn't anybody like yelling at me right now? What's going on here? You know, like, where's all the noise? And it's like, oh, we're back to a regular golf tournament. And so the environment in Phoenix is definitely good for the game. It gets more people interested, and you know, it's fun week.
Do you remember, like, could you hear when the ace happened on Saturday? Could you like hear it from where were you when that happened?
I can't remember exactly where we were, but Teddy and I both looked at each other. We were like, yep, that's an ace, because the roars just kept going, and you could hear it all over the golf course. Like, you hear some of the birdie stuff, you hear everything, but then when the ace happens, it just is so loud for so long, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then the playoff, I mean, to be in a playoff in that environment, looking to get your first W. You talked a lot about your putting and how, you know, you felt like that was something holding you back. You've been working on it so hard with your really sick setup in your living room right next to the kitchen. And then you make a bomb in the playoff to beat Patrick Cantlay. I mean, does something like that really factor in going forward as like a huge boost of like, you know, I did it, my putter came through? Does that matter, or is it just next week you're on to the next thing?
No, I'd say it matters for sure. You know, you always believe that you can perform well in those situations, and that's why I work as hard as I do, is to be prepared for those situations, because when the time comes, it's very easy to let go, because you're just sitting there like, I did everything I could to perform well right now. And if I don't, it's just because I didn't perform well. It's not because I didn't do these things. If I didn't work as hard as I did, I wouldn't have the confidence to perform in those situations. But then it's a totally different level once you get out there and you actually do it. And you're like, I actually made that putt. And I show up the next week, or the next time I'm in contention at Bay Hill, where I really have another chance to win the tournament. I was much more comfortable. Like, I knew early in the round I made some silly mistakes. I knew in that round I was like, that's okay. I made those same mistakes in Phoenix. Like, I made 4 bogeys, I think, the final round in Phoenix, and still was able to win the golf tournament. And if you asked me that a year ago, I probably wouldn't have believed you. And so it's definitely a little bit different when you actually accomplish something like that under the gun and under all that pressure, and you actually get over the hump and win. There definitely is a little bit of a different feeling, but it's not that I didn't believe I couldn't do it before.
Talk to us about this burger house. All right, I'm looking at this. I'm watching you post all over your Instagram. Burger House, your go-to spot here, because we're going to be in Dallas in a few months for the Classic, and it seems like you got a pretty big affection for this place.
Yeah, so there's 2 places, and they're like 50 yards from each other. There's Burger House and Bubba's. Burger House is cheeseburgers. Bubba's is like Southern fried chicken. And I used to have a horrible diet when I was growing up, like in high school and stuff. My diet was horrible, and I love food. And so now I try and eat pretty healthy most of the time. But after, you know, winning the tournament,
talking to, pal. Look who you're talking about.
And so the diet change honestly has been tough for me. And so after, you know, winning and accomplishing some stuff, definitely going to enjoy, you know, a nice fast food cheeseburger and whatnot to kind of celebrate a little bit. It's my win bonus.
What's your Saturday meal like? What's on your menu like on a Saturday? Because Sunday, obviously, after you win, all rules are out the window. I'm assuming you can eat whatever you want at the end of a tournament. But like, what leading up to the final round? What are you usually eating?
Something pretty clean. I think last week there's this place in Austin called Picnic where we kept going because they use good cooking oils. Like, a lot of places use vegetable oils and like canola oil, and that stuff's not good for you. I think this place was maybe a olive oil plus something like that. Meredith knows all this stuff. I don't know it. And so we went to this place. I think I had,
She's your dietitian. She's got you dialed in.
Yes, she really does. So one of her best friends lives in Austin, and she is an actual dietitian. And so on Saturday night we went. Claire's like, you got to go to this place, Picnic. It's awesome. So we got chicken. I think I had cauliflower and Brussels sprouts from there, just clean meal. And we went and ate at Claire's house, and under the, the dietary restrictions and whatnot. So just clean with me.
Perfect. And then the burger spot on what was that, Monday?
Yeah. I think actually immediately after the round on Sunday, I had a cheeseburger, and then we went and got some Mexican food, and,
Yeah.
and then it continued into Monday.
Yeah, of course.
It's really unfortunate how important like nutrition is. Like I wish I could, just, it sounds like you are similar, Scotty, where like you want to eat burgers and fried chicken all the time, but it does, fuck with your body. And then when you eat clean, you eat chicken and Brussels sprouts, you actually see the effects of it. It's just super unfortunate that that's the case.
It really is, because if I could, I would eat ice cream, cheeseburgers, pizza. Like I would, you name it, and it's unhealthy for you. And I love it. It tastes so good. But especially long-term, like you don't notice how much different your body actually feels when you're eating all the clean stuff and you're keeping the bad stuff out of your body. It really is a huge difference, and it stinks how much of a difference it makes, because the other stuff is so much better.
I wish people were lying. I wish people were lying, and they're like, when I start to eat clean, my body is in like worse shape. But it's really just not the case.
Dude, you want to hear how pathetic I am? I think the best meal I've eaten in the last month, like cleanest, healthiest meal, was on a Delta flight. So I got upgraded. And I'm sitting, we're on our way to Florida, and they're like, would you like a meal? I was like, absolutely. What do we got? I'm thinking my usual Philly cheesesteak, pizza, whatever I'm usually eating. She's like, oh, we have a grain bowl. It's vegan. And I was just like, I don't even want to ask what's in it. Just give it to me. I ended up picking through it. It's got peas. It had wild rice. It had sweet potatoes. I'm eating this thing. I felt so good after eating this. I'm like, I was sitting up more straight. I'm looking around. I was like more attentive to like the movie I was watching. I like felt really healthy. And I got thinking, I'm like, man, this is probably the first time I've eaten this type of stuff in over a month, and it's on a Delta flight. So I definitely need to get on that train when it comes to like the dietary restrictions and all that stuff.
Yeah. And a lot of it's also not necessarily restricting. Like you obviously want to cut out the horrible stuff like processed foods and fast foods and all that kind of stuff. But I really did like notice a huge change for me. So the girl who's a dietitian, she lives in Austin. We did this like testing a couple of years ago when I was on the Corn Ferry tour, and learned that like I was deficient in all these different things. One of them being B12, which like if you're deficient in B12, you lose focus, you don't have energy, you don't sleep good. And I kid you not, immediately when I started taking the supplements and started eating cleaner, like I noticed a massive difference in how I felt throughout the day. And I started to play better golf. Like,
no way.
Imagine.
I was actually going to do a food test to see like what foods I work with and what I don't, because I know I don't work with dairy at all, but I still, just to your point, give me a cheeseburger, give me a milkshake, just give it to me and just feed it in my veins. But I know, like, I was looking around the other day. I just felt awful. I had pizza every night, and I had like 7 slices every night. But I was like, I don't know if I can eat anything except like berries and water. Honestly, my body's so bad. My stomach, I feel like, is so weak that I feel like I really should only eat blueberries and water. Should pretty much be the only thing I eat. It's so bad. But I want to do one of those tests because, yeah, there was this Warren Buffett had a quote. He's like, okay, you get any car you want. That's going to be the only car of your life. How would you treat that car? And then you start to get you thinking, and it's like, no, you only have one body. How would you treat that body for the rest of your life? As we start to get up in age a little bit, we start to look around the room, and you're like, my body's pathetic. My stamina is at an all-time low. Maybe I got to put some different things in
Need
this.
a new exhaust pipe for sure.
Oh, yeah. I need a filter, oil change. I need like an engine rehaul.
New gas tank is what you really need.
We gotta put you up in the air. We gotta look under you. We gotta jack you up.
We need to
filter
just take
on
it
that
to a
gas
mechanic
tank.
and say, hey, mechanic, why don't you give it a look? Pull the hood back and see what we got. So
What does
anyways,
that
I'm with you.
food test entail, Scotty? How do you do it? Is it blood work? What is it?
Yeah, it was blood work. So one of my old roommates, Charlie Saxon, did a food sensitivity test. And so that's probably what you're referring to, Lurch, where it tells you what your body what you shouldn't be eating. And so I called our friend Claire, because she's a dietitian. I said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this test. What should I do? She goes, don't do that. Take a micronutrient test. And so that's how I learned what I was deficient in.
I gotta write this down.
Yeah,
Micronutrient test.
Yeah.
Order up a couple of those.
By the way, we're doing this public. We're making a video out of this. We're gonna
Oh,
do
yeah.
the results of the micronutrient foreplay.
Can you
Oh,
just
if I take this test, they're taking me straight to the hospital.
can you just give us Claire's number? It sounds like she really knows.
Hey,
that.
hey, I will send
I'm
you guys.
worried they don't just give me a timeline. They say you got like 12 months left based on what I'm seeing in this micronutrient test.
Micronutrient test. I'm doing that for sure.
We're gonna do this. We got to
and
just, and we'll share the results.
And at the end of it, it tells you. So like, I can't even remember, the one that stood out to me the most was B12, but I was deficient in some other stuff. And then Claire was like, hey, these are the foods that are all high in this stuff that you're deficient in. Start putting this in your body. That's pretty cool.
Done.
Wow.
Number one golfer in the world a couple months later. Done.
Mine's gonna be like, you haven't eaten a vegetable in 3 years. you're just missing a lot there.
Imagine
man.
I
The
start
whole
taking B12 and
part of
start
the pyramid.
chipping like fucking Tiger Woods out here. It's like, imagine
never know,
I'm
dude.
just the sickest golfer ever because I was deficient in B12. They're like, you're at a 1, you need to be at a 90. Fuck.
It's interesting.
So that test tells you the nutrients you need. Did you take the food test too that says like this is what you can't eat? Do you feel no?
No.
Is there any food that you eat, Scotty, that you feel like sick after or anything like that, or no?
No.
Okay.
And my diet is not like that clean all the time. I mean, I
Okay.
wish it was, but like when we go out to eat sometimes at tournaments, especially at the beginning of the week, like, Sam and I will really get after it and eat some pretty bad stuff, but
Love it.
Get after it.
yeah. And then
Get a couple
like,
table
you
items,
can
let
tell.
them dance. Eat those things. A little snack on this. Make it nice.
Yeah, but Lurch, you can tell, like you said something about dairy, like you can tell when
Oh,
you
yeah.
eat something that does not sit well, and you probably, there's a reason it doesn't.
We can
sit
all
well.
tell.
We don't have to go
We can
into
all tell.
details, but yeah,
Everybody
it's
feels
bad.
the effects.
Nose starts running, and it's like, all right, I just put poison in my body pretty much because my body's saying like this just doesn't work with me at all. So yeah, I'm aware of the situation.
Scotty, you ever do any focus exercises to like exercise on like focusing in on something, or is that you think something that you're just like kind of born with to be able to like lock in, zone in?
I wouldn't say that you're born with it. I think you kind of train yourself a little bit, but I've never done like brain exercises or anything like that.
Yeah.
I've always just kind of been focused on the task that I'm doing, if that makes sense. And so I've never really worked with like a sports psychologist or anything like that. I usually try and focus on my breathing before I hit a shot. And then my big thing is, I kind of touched on a bit earlier, is like the prep work, being able to have the ability to let go too. For me, my problem was always trying too hard, like always trying to hit a perfect shot, stuff like that. And for me, just being able to kind of relax and realize that it's okay if I don't pull the shot off, stuff like that makes it, you start to value things a little bit less and helps you free up a little bit.
A lot of chatter about Masters prep right now, especially because certain someone, there's rumors that he might play. You're the number one ranked player in the world going into your next tournament. Your next start's going to be the Masters. Our boy Justin Ray tweeted out that Scottie Scheffler has 6 straight top 20 finishes in majors, best score to par in the majors since 2020. John Rahm's 31 under, Scottie Scheffler's 26 under, Colin Morikawa 25 under, Louis Oosthuizen. Shout out to our boy Louis Oosthuizen. Is 24 under par. Going into Augusta, what is your prep plan? Is there any early trip up? You doing a practice round early? Do you go in a couple days earlier? What is the number one ranked player in the world's kind of prep for the first major look like?
So usually I like playing the week before major, whichever tournament it is. Last year I made the mistake of doing that after Austin, playing San Antonio and going to the Masters pretty tired. So this year, sadly, I pulled out of Valero, and so I'm just at home relaxing this week. I won't do an early trip. I'll probably go in Sunday just like I would any other event. I know the golf course well. You kind of know what you're going to see. I think there may be a couple new tee boxes this year, but outside of that, I mean, you kind of know what to prepare for during the week. Nothing crazy. I'm just going to get a few days of rest, and I'll start prepping again on Thursday. A lot of it's just rehearsing shots for that golf course. There's a few tee balls which are uncharacteristic, and they're a lot different than some of the other courses we play. Like the shot on 13 is one I always rehearse. I hit like a 40-yard high snap hook with my 3-wood, which doesn't really play on a lot of other golf courses on tour. And so there's just little stuff like that you kind of prepare for. Maybe practice some putts with a little bit more break, and just imagine yourself kind of in those situations.
Man, dude, I like to get dramatic on this show and like really paint the picture. But have you ever really thought about like when you're 65 years old, you're gonna look back and be like, yeah, I used to play in the fucking Masters, like, and you have one coming up next week. You're gonna tee it up at Augusta National with a chance to win a green jacket. Like, do you ever think about just how amazing this run and this ride you're on right now? Like, you're currently living in it. How like I can't imagine what that must feel like to be like, yeah, no, I can go do that now. Like next week, I'm going to be in it. And one day you'll look back and be like, oh, those were the times. And you're like embarking on those times right now. It's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah. It's stuff like that's so funny because, people, it's weird. It's why stuff like this doesn't really satisfy you. You know what I mean? Like if I won the Masters next week, I'm not going to be a perfectly satisfied person. Like if I get to number one in the world, I'm not going to be perfectly satisfied. And it's something that people just don't understand, I think, until you actually live it out. And like for you guys, making it to Barstool and, creating these golf podcasts and being in the public eye, like you're still not perfectly satisfied because there's always something missing. And so for me, like, it's interesting because these are great times right now. I could not be happier with my life on the golf course, and I'm going to enjoy it as much as I can because it's such a treat. Like going to get to play in the Masters and having a chance to win is an insanely amazing treat, and I'm going to enjoy it so much. And at the end of the day, if I win the Masters, it's not going to perfectly satisfy me, and realizing that, I think, make it easier almost to accomplish those goals, just because you know that it's not going to change your life. Like I said, I don't feel any different because I made it to number one in the world. It's just some ranking that people in the media get to talk about. But when I come home, my life's still the same. Like my wife and I played Cube on the patio last night for like 3 hours, just us. And it's like nothing changes. Your life's not different just because you accomplish something. And I think the flawed thinking that we have in our world is that you're going to be satisfied if you accomplish these things. But at the end of the day, you're just still literally the exact same person that you were the day before.
What an answer.
Cool.
That's great perspective.
Yeah, you get the job. That's a good interview. I mean, you just got the job. That was an unreal answer.
Yeah.
One of the best answers we've ever had on the
documents.
podcast.
Yep.
We're going to pay you twice of what we said we were going to pay you, actually.
Good answer.
Excellent.
Right. So people sometimes give us a good question and you just get a good answer. That was a really good answer there.
Excellent answer. That just justified, your father's embrace when he said, I'm more proud of the man that you are than the golfer that you are. That was emotional. I see where he gets that from.
Awesome moment.
Yeah, that was emotional. That was wild.
I will say what might make me feel accomplished, and everyone else in this group, is if you allow us the opportunity to potentially take down the number one player in the world in a 4-man scramble.
Come on.
If you want to
we'll
do
see. I think I was thinking about it last night because Riggs messaged me. And I was talking to you a bit, Frankie, but Riggs, I'm still a bit frustrated with. And
like this.
And
look,
it is tough to be on his team because he's Benedict Riggs.
Some are saying that I provided the proper bulletin board material for Team USA to rally and have, an impressive performance that we've been waiting for them to have for a long time.
Thinking very highly of yourself there, Riggs.
Some people are saying that. That's all.
The exact opposite of what Scottie said about reaching your things and just like not being the same person.
No, I'm just playing around.
Riggs put a bulletin material for Team USA to go out and have the largest win in USA history. No, dude, we have to make this happen.
I mean, it was funny because JT definitely saw it. I definitely saw it. And, we had some words for Riggs after the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I'm looking forward to hopefully taking you all on. What'd you say, Frankie? You guys still are yet to lose in regulation. You lost.
That's right.
It's a little thing we're doing, because we lost to Max Homa. I mean, we'll just come out and say it. We lost. We lost in a playoff. We're not
4 up through 8.
4 up through 8.
4 up through 8?
Yeah.
Scottie, it got to the point where we were in the carts being like, we have to let him win one because it's getting embarrassing. We had a huge crowd. Everyone was there. Like, they're all just like oohing and ahhing every shot. We're like, Trent was making 100-foot fucking putts from off the green. His parents came, surprised him after he hit the greatest fucking putt off the green I've ever seen in my entire life. One of the best moments in golf history. And yeah, obviously not. But and then he just started coming back. And like, it was almost like we got punched and we never recovered. It was like, what did he fire on the back? Was he 6 under on the back or 5 under on the back? We couldn't keep up.
Yeah, what'd y'all shoot?
We were, I believe we were 5 under, and I think he was 6 under, and he had never seen the golf course before in his life. We played it from like a little over 7,000 yards, and he couldn't get any putts to really drop on the front. We had everything going right. Trent's family showed up. He basically was playing blackout golf. He made 3 birdies in a row. I mean, he made 2 bombs and then hit a 9-iron to a foot, the best iron shot he's ever hit in his life, while his family had showed up without telling him, and we're in Arizona, and people were just rooting for Trent. And Max had told us at the beginning, like, I'm rooting for Trent. He's like, I want Trent to hit good shots. Meanwhile, Trent's hitting good shots. And then he just birdied 9, and we had a big wait on 10. And then 10 and 11, we both kind of tied. And then 12, I believe he birdied and then eagled and then birdied. And then he hit this ridiculous shot where we thought he was going to tear his ACL. Oh. And we were going to, like, our whole franchise was going to go down in flames. Like, this is why you don't do stuff with the Barstool idiots. And then he hits this shot with, like, one leg out of the bunker to, 15, 20 feet, ends up tying the hole, makes a couple birdies coming in and beat us on a playoff hole. And it just kind of happened so fast we weren't ready for it.
It really did, and he had
wheels
said,
fell off for us.
At one point, he looks in the camera and he says that he's like, "These guys can't keep up their play like they're playing on the front 9. I can," and then that's just what happened, and he just beat us. It was demoralizing.
But first loss, you're undefeated outside of that. How many guys have y'all beaten now?
We defeated Kevin Kisner, Joel Damon, and Pat Perez, and then we blew a 4-up lead to Max Homa and lost in a playoff. So we're undefeated in regulation.
3-1.
3-1.
3-0-1 if we're gonna do the hockey standings.
3-0-1-1, kind of.
Oh, with the hockey point system.
Yeah, exactly. I got a point. Listen, we got a point. We had pucks on net all night. We got it to overtime. Overtime's kind of like a shit show with like 3-on-3, and like we lost it. It is what it is, but we still are going tomorrow. You're our next target. Like, regardless of if you're gonna you may not even think you want to accept it yet, but it's happening. Like, we're not playing anyone until we play you. We have to start putting the gas on the fucking pedal here, boys. Like, Scottie has to face us.
Okay. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah. The power of the pause right there. Frankie
time.
says it. We all just sit here until you say yes.
What would have happened if Scottie hadn't said it? If you just hadn't said anything right there, were we just all going to sit here in silence?
Yeah.
I thought about waiting, but I gave in. I couldn't do it. I thought y'all were going to come down here and maybe take on me, Harry. I saw something.
Yeah, we're thinking about doing like a Texas swing through. We want to take on you and Harry. That those guys are on our list.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. It'll be fun.
You guys
I gotta do some research on where, because it might. So will I be the host if y'all are coming to take on me? Am I the host?
Yeah.
Do I get to choose location and whatnot?
We're a little sensitive to that as we're trying. It's
within reason.
Negotiation. We're trying to. We could talk about it.
Okay. Right now, what it feels like is you guys are challenging me, so I feel like I have a little bit of power in these negotiations.
That's right.
I think that's fair. We're not very good at this, so as you're learning,
it's true.
So I'm going to do some.
Feels like we just gave in.
Yeah, figure out what golf course is going to suit me better over you guys, and then we'll figure it out.
All right.
Do you think we could do Austin? Do you think Austin Country Club would do it or no?
Dude, I don't know. Austin Country Club. I mean.
I know
they have like 800 golfing members there. That is a busy place. Yeah. So that would be tough because I think they're already kind of
somewhere around Dallas.
Yeah.
Do Dallas. We'll hit the burger spot. We'll go to the Southern Fried Chicken spot. We'll do a whole thing. You'll show us around town, and then we'll play Harry the next day.
Check out your putting lab.
Yeah, we'll teach Frankie some chipping in the backyard here.
Perfect. Yes. Dude, that's a 24 hours with the foreplay crew right there. Play a little match, we do a little lessons, and then we eat some burgers. Come on, man.
Yeah,
that sounds like a great
fun.
Day.
Yeah,
right.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
All right, Scottie. Well, look, we appreciate it. You're obviously a very wanted, demanded man in the golf world right now for a lot of obvious reasons. So we appreciate it. And to speak to Trent's point at the very beginning of the show, we were talking about the Masters. You're living it. You get this moment coming up where you get to actually play in the Masters. You have a very legitimate chance of winning. That's what this was like for us. We were like, we have Scottie Scheffler coming on the podcast. I'm texting all my friends like Scottie fucking like the real one from TV is coming on to the show. So for us, this is very, very cool. We like to joke around a lot, but you're an amazing guy for the game of golf. You're such a good dude, a family guy. 3 hours playing games in the back porch with your wife after winning for third time in 5 starts and ascending to number 1. So you're very good for the game of golf. It's cool that you give us this amount of time. We'll all be rooting for you. We very much appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank y'all for having me on. It was fun. It was good talking to you guys again.
Scottie, I'm really proud of you. I want you to know that.
Thanks,
I am. I'm just happy for you, dude. Like, there's like golf. Like for some, I've said I don't love golf in the sense that every time someone wins, we all go hooray, and like there's no teams. Like I don't have a team. I don't have the Islanders. I don't have the Yankees. Like whoever wins, we talk about on the podcast, and it is what it is. But for you, we have our select crew of guys like Kisner, you, and obviously like Pat and all those, and Max and Joel. But like when I see you succeed, it genuinely makes me happy. Like I love everything about you, your family, everything that you got going for you. You're just such a nice dude. So I'm very, very proud of you, Scottie.
Well, thanks, Frankie. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, man.
Thanks, Scottie. We
Thank you,
appreciate
Scottie.
it.
All right, thanks,
We'll set up
guys.
this
Appreciate
match.
it. Y'all be
See you
well.
guys.
Good luck at Augusta.
All right, bro.
Yeah, thanks. See y'all. Are y'all gonna be out there?
There's
Me and Frankie are
rumblings.
thinking about going. We're
There's
very
rumblings.
much thinking about going. If anybody else on this show wants to come too, we might go like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and just kind of see what we get into, kind of thing.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Y'all enjoy it.
Yeah, it would be. Thanks, bro.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Scottie.
Scottie.
See you, boys.
So,
Y'all enjoy.